Therefore, this video will be quite lengthy because I'm going to read a chapter. Okay, maybe the chapter tremor. I think I've already spoken about the book I am currently reading by Ryan Holiday, and the title of the book is Ego is the Enemy. I've told you guys this book is having a good one on me. Mekrano book nama my brabo me share inyama bia enko ye ema mesesa, and I've started seeing some positive signs. And so story biaba na story na aba no ene assembly eshia ewo book nim into me ready atremo interna make us to be a lengthy one. If you really want to be educated, I think that you'd want for this. You wait for this. NPP for essay or more air withdraw from Media General platform over alleged bias. Now you can Media General not TV3, Onia FM, Onia TV, 3FM, and all those platforms more. And then the more under Media General. NPP for say Omon Pene Emma Omo communicators enko TV3 bium. Omon Pene Omo communicators enko Onia TV bium. Omon Pene Omo communicators enko 3FM. Enko TV3 for program platform bia subium, because omususu say TV3 for a report Emma NDC4 dodo eja womo NPP4. Now you read the story no, and then we will dive into the book I'm telling you about, right? Also, the New Patriotic Party has announced its immediate withdrawal from all platforms operated by Media General. The decision, detailed in a statement signed by the party's Director of Communications, Richard Ahiagba, follows ongoing concerns about alleged bias and unprofessionalism in the media group's political coverage. According to the statement, the NPP has engaged with Media General since 2023 to address issues of unfair treatment, including unbalanced paneling, disruptive hosting, and repeated attacks on leading party figures. The party claims these concerns, despite assurances of reform, have persisted. Inti utie asemo a womoka omoko show so a ebia na yama NDC for adults nsin omoko show so a yamo omokwan momo nkasa and all that. Inti Richard Ahiagba aba beka me say NPP mebu na motie me, you people need to cleanse the party. There is a purge that you people need to do. Now, once I say cleanse the party or a purge, I'm not saying it in the bad light. In the sense that all these leaders are no, a drum vote against them, because most of these people, they are all egoistic people. They are narcissists. They have narcissistic personality disorder. They think that they are much more important than other Ghanaians, and that is a problem that I believe NPP is suffering from. Now, let me go into reading this book. Now, there is a chapter, your friend, Restrain Yourself. And that's the title of that chapter. Now, Obia will read the book, Oko page 59, you see that chapter. Now, let me go straightly into it. There was a story there in that chapter. A tremenyansapa natiha. Or say, the chapter starts. Or say, people who knew Jackie Robinson as a young man probably wouldn't have predicted that they would one day see him become the first black player in Major League Baseball. In America, na papa bi were friend Jackie Robinson. Na yesi omo ano mu nim no friend nkola brem no. Omo nsusu da say, ye ka America say baseball player pa na oye black man. Babe do say ono pa na oye the first black man. Say professional baseball player, major black man. Na microphone susu say ebeyo no, because ne nkola brem ne nyama bia no ye no dabi yenko. Or say not that he wasn't talented, or that the idea of eventually integrating white baseball was inconceivable. It is that he wasn't exactly known for his restraint and poise. Until during that time no na eya na yema black for embo baseball ni bi ono so efri ne nkola brem no yo bi a ontumi nhye ne ho nso. Unnim na ba be kasetia no de ode be ye ono. Inti sa time na ye se ade a embrofofo ene leadi as that time na racism wo ho na ono na wo ye black person pa say league ni mu no a major black football baseball player e ye nkrofo wanwa But listen to what happened. I say, as a teenager, Robinson ran with a small gang of friends who regularly found themselves in trouble with local police. He challenged a fellow student to a fight at a junior college picnic for using a slur. In a basketball game, he surreptitiously struck a hard fouling white opponent with the ball so forcefully that the kid bled everywhere. He was arrested more than once for arguing with and challenging police, who he felt treated him unfairly. It is a branch ye embra na wo school as a kola teenager no. Na saa time no obviously embrofofo ene diso ewo eye America. Inti obroni bi ye ni bibia ono de opura no. Na police for tai chino. Obo basketball obroni bi tumi yusu kase bia ne ninja krana otume bono. Otume the basketball ne hwi obroni bi anim ema obroni no ne nimu ni na we pra moja ni na enyu no. Chese enya asem ketwa police tai chino ni na ne se na mbrofofo no edi omoso. Chese onu hu ne se mbrofofo no treating no unfairly. Just like what NPP is doing right now, mo feel say TV3 for treating omo unfairly no. O feel say na mbrofofo no treating unfairly no so there won nim na ba be treating unfairly there wo be bo. And the story continues. Also, before he started at UCLA, he spent the night in jail and had a gun drawn on him by an officer for nearly fighting a white man who had insulted his friends. And in addition to rumors of inciting protest against racism, Jackie Robinson effectively ended his career as a military officer at Camp Hood in 1944 when a bus driver attempted to force him to sit in the back in spite of laws that forbade segregation on base buses. By arguing and cursing at the driver and then directly challenging his commanding officer after the fracas, Jackie set in motion a series of events that led to court-martial. Despite being acquitted, he was discharged shortly after. Do baby okoko dane soje ni. No dane soje ni ne kra no otumi kofro bus. Yes yo ebi before no monko tina ha. Tini bufu ya na trese bus driver ne kra no yenya no nombo no. Tie ma soje adwuma na no ye ne kra no. Ye ba be yine di. Efri soje adwuma nim. Nanso na nyama na no ye no ofili se ye treat ni won fairly o. Ena na wo kun. Se die ntia na before mo ye yense nti wo kun. I say it is not understandable and human that he did this. It was probably the right thing to do. Why should he let anyone else treat him that way? No one should have to stand for that. So say enya dia na ka oye boni o. Say na me nam krom na ohumia na me edibini nti na wudi me boni. Dabi it's a reply to you am ndi boni. Nti o say ade na papa na yanka enya dia wo di boni o. Anka enya dia wo ye boni o. Because obi anywhere was say ye di ne sa. But look at what happened later. I say, except sometimes they do. Are they not goals so important that we would put up with anything to achieve them? Into Obisa say, Sebi in prayers and nipa da ni. Don't we have goals? Now goals na ye wano ye new obstacles biana. Ye nim krofwa ebejina ya nemu ebejina ye nim se wo mpene ema ye achieve sa goals na na enu hunti ye ni omonko. Why is it that we will not focus on the goals? That's a good question. Natiha. When Branch Rickey, the manager and owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers, scouted Jackie to potentially become the first black player in baseball, he had one question. Do you have the guts? I am looking, Rickey told him, for a ball player with the guts not to fight back. Enti scouts eba behun said that be abrantie onim baseball bo. Na minyaya me de no ebeba league nim baseball league nin so de sika wom. Question ba kwa obi sa abrantie ne say wo akukudro. Na akukudro no enye se ebia wo kokun akukudro say obi eba begina wenim se wo di watem because we ye bibini a odi weni beto so say there is a bigger picture. Now the bigger picture ne say, oh, baseball no for your future. The bigger picture is one in the pakone nkoko. Because once people see say, "Oh no, ye kwa cassette ya pe obube fupe," they will distract you. Team B be shede to miyama omu nipa ba be di watem. Na one na kwa akoko ne ya banel from baseball na obono. Inti wo akoko dro say nkrofo di watem, nkrofo treaty won fairly krana. Udi we ni be to so. Say oh, adie we ya me painti. Inti NPP for mo akoko dro. Say elections are mo pese mu winning ti. Say ye treaty mo unfairly krana mo de mo ni be to bigger picture ne so. Aka say ye pese ye winning ti no. Wo de mo pese mu di yen, mu di atemo ye yen de krana. Enye hwe for now ne ye be pocket mo was akoko dro no. That's the question. Scouts no ebisa no. I say in fact, in their famous meeting, Ricky play acted the abuse that Robinson was likely to experience if he accepted Ricky's challenge. A hotel clerk refusing him a room, a rude waiter in a restaurant, an opponent shouting slurs. This Robinson assured him he was ready to handle. Inti ansa na wobekwa akobobas a baseball ne kra no. Scouts ne sheda ema hotel na wo mo no. Obroni oye adwuma wo hotel ho e sheda ba be di abrante na tem yen hwe ne sa abrante ne reaction be no be ma abrante a free ne collaborate no mbrofofo di na tem a wo bo omo no. Sheda mo broni ba be yesa. Sheda mo broni ka se da bi edan na wodim ne se di bibini dem nti ye yi we free ha. Ni ye hese abrante no be den. At the end of the day, nyansa ye ni abrante ne kan ye nti etonasum. He saw the bigger picture. Enu hunti mbrofofo ne ye ne sa de ni na no uyi neni. Or say, there were plenty of players Ricky could have gone with, but he needed one who wouldn't let his ego block him from seeing the bigger picture. And this is where the problem is. Ego. Is your ego blocking you from seeing the bigger picture? NPP4, at this point, your ego is blocking you from seeing the bigger picture. But you see, it feels like I'm even advising the NPP. Maybe I'm about to do it. Say me sisi ade me madani NDC ni. Madani NDC ni last obi ema me number say memfre na yenye me party card ma me my friend ni pakone na kasa inti me party card ne de enche menya. Inti my madani NDC ni mapa inti in same way I make a crano. It feels like say me too mofo. That's here because in some way make an ye foot work as ye pa me de mamo. And me NDC ni didn't know say me too mofo. But you see, because people are listening, into no, and yet even about NPP for Nankasa per se, but me listeners no, because I want us to learn a lesson from this. Or say, as he started in baseball's farm system, then in the pros, Robinson faced more than just slights from service staff or reticent players. There was an aggressive, coordinated campaign to libel, boo, provoke, freeze out, attack, mime, or even kill. Inti wakokobo baseball now were the major black player no. Hey! Enyama wo face enya asem ketwa. Na ebi mu kra peso mu kuno. O baseball na ba ne hope ni ashas ye boo ni edi na tem. Chese enyama attack ebufuo. But ordinary kaya, there is a bigger picture. The bia maba bedri, mi nimna nkrofo ya dia wo mu ye, mi kokko responde a, mi ye bibini. Me ejuma we be hwere mensa. Senia mi kokko ye bufo a, mi lusu military ejuma, na ejuma we nso be hwere mensa. Inti na mi look at the bigger picture. So wodi matemo a mi nwu, ma mi nye kum na menhwe no. Na tie ha. There was an end game. I say, in his career, he was hit by more than 72 pitches, nearly had his Achilles tendon taken out by players who aimed their spikes at him. And that was nothing of the course he was cheated out of and the breaks of the game that didn't go his way. Inti wobo baseball no, obi to me 29 pounds say, ye pesi ye 29 free ho. Hey! Ye fawe no, referees en ye. Obo baseball ni ye to me share na referees ni say da bi oye bibini nti ye nye. E ya di anke wose ni bufu o. But ye pesi ye yi ni free league nim because oye bibini. But on also ye tunefo say he should look at the bigger picture. Now, tia, I say, yet Jackie Robinson held to his unwritten pact with Ricky. Into one scout no decision or promise our man say on man the boom for no. Ye yene bonia na wakai. Ma shebo se me mami boom fu into minye kum. Ose never given into explosive anger, however deserved. In fact, in 9 years in the league, he never hit another person with his fist. 9 years ewo league nim ni edi ne bone wanfa ne nsa nka obi ada. Obi ana ne nkola brem no, unnim na oba be kasa ne ni my heart bro be bu no. Ose athletes seem spoiled and hot-headed to us today, but we have no concept of what the leagues were like then. In 1956, Ted Williams, one of the most revered and respected players in the history of the game, was once caught spitting at his fans. As a white player, he could not only get away with this, he later told reporters, I am not a bit sorry for what I did. I was right, and I spit again at the same people who booed me today. Till 1956, yes, yeah, no, Obroni baseball player bi, and o tuntosio egu fans no eso. Yene ne kan no, o se wo no, onya krank obeye biom. But say bibini wonim and ankokoko yes ade anka be pame no. Because our Obroni no feel say na fans no ebu no. I say nobody is going to stop me from spitting. For a black player, this sort of behavior would have been not only unthinkable but short-sighted beyond comprehension. Robinson had no such freedom. It would have ended not only his career but set back his grand experiment for a generation. Jackie's path called for him to put aside both his ego and in some respect his basic sense of fairness and right as a human being. Early in his career, the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, Ben Chapman, was particularly brutal in his taunting during the game. They are waiting for you in the jungles, black boy. He yelled over and over. Into omuni team bi koko shiaye. Abranti nebo no, na team no, a coach, ababejina nenchen say, hey, onu ye bibini, kwaye mu, ene wose woko. Inti omo kwaye mu, no mo twen kona kokoshe kwaye nim. Hey! Nini na no di neni ato se hey nkrofo yi se me bu hey nkrofo yi me chi omo pa se me bu omo awo omo mesu. Hey! Natie. I say we don't want you here nigger. What him say Obroni kache bibini say nigger a big issue. Not only the Jackie not respond, despite as he later wrote, wanting to grab one of those white sons and sons of bitches and smash his teeth in with my despised black fist. I say ni trim no omoka sansem ni na ne buefu na onyaya na kochi omo awon obe tutu omo se ni na mudi matem se me ye bibini me de sa bibinsa we me de be tutu mo se ni na. As a month later, he agreed to take a friendly photo with Chapman to help save the man's job. After 1 month, ni bakwa wodi na tem se wo kona kwhye kwaye mu no. Ni bakre na afi na ejuma, obelusu na ejuma. No here picture with Bibini because Bibini wato ne boas ya bo league no ye di na tem afi wa ba beda ne nipa kese wo league nim. We here picture with Bibini. Bibini afa ne ni anto se wo di matem. Ojina ho de ni twa picture no. Or say, the thought of touching, posing with such an asshole, even 60 years removed, almost turns the stomach. Or say, or dream who pass any pakrowi. Say, wojina menchain, so mi mudi mi twa picture. Minyana ka machine ni so. O katem se mi nkokwa ye mu anka we ne wo be hia me ne mi twa picture. There was a bigger picture. Ose Robinson called it one of the most difficult things he ever did, but he was willing to because it was part of a larger plan. He understood that certain forces were trying to bait him, to ruin him, knowing what he wanted and needed to do in baseball. It was clear what he would have to tolerate in order do it. He shouldn't have had to, but he did. Or say our own path whatever we aspire to will in some ways be defined by the amount of nonsense we are willing to deal with. Tiha, osi nipa won bibia ope wo wiase mu bia no sebe obi de nkwasi asem bi betumi aba abegina wanim. Na it depends on senya wo be deal with nkwasi asem ni na be man krofo hu ne se ade no ope anase wompe. Osi our humiliations will pale in comparison to Robinson's, but it will still be hard. It will still be tough to keep our self-control. The fighter, Bas Ratton, sometimes writes the letter R on both his hands before fights for the word rustic, which means relax in Dutch. Getting angry, getting emotional, losing restraint is a recipe for failure in the ring. You cannot, as John Steinbeck once wrote to his editor, lose temper as a refuge from despair. Your ego will do you no favors here. Whether you are struggling with a publisher, with critics, with enemies, or a capricious boss, it doesn't matter that they don't understand or that you know better. It is too early for that. It is too soon. Oh, you went to college? That doesn't mean the world is yours by rights. But it was the Ivy League. Well, people are still going to treat you poorly, and they will still yell at you. You have $1 million or a wall full of awards. That doesn't mean anything in the new field you are trying to tackle. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how great your connections are, how much money you have. When you want to do something big and important and meaningful, you will be subjected to treatment ranging from indifference to outright sabotage. Yemekanya no so what ya say a osi nipa se wo pe bibi kese wo abrabom wo pe se wo ye bibi kese a wo be hia nkrofo a wo mo be sabotage wo be hia nkrofo a wo mo ne wo nya adwen ba na ene ne tre se no hunti nkrofo no bo mugu ana boycott yo mo se se the NPP for year ndey osi count on it. In this scenario, ego is the absolute opposite of what is needed. Who can afford to be jerked around by impulses or believe that you are God's gift to humanity or too important to put up with anything you don't like? Odi ohun se oye nipa ama to be ye obone obi gina wenim na oye ade a ohun se oye nipa ama nipa ko onsem fata se oye mesa ade wo ye hwan wo ne hwan se wiase mu school na wakokra wo ne hwan president kra ye di na tem nyankopon kra nkrofo sori anopo mu di na tem na wo nipa wo ye hwan. Or see, those who have subdued their ego understand that it doesn't degrade you when others treat you poorly. It degrades them. So say osa oti ase se obi ye obone a nipa kono bone na wo ye no enka wo e yo no nipa kono ngasa wo tre ni suban o tre se o ni suban pa. Up ahead there will be slights, dismissals, little fuck yous, one-sided compromises. You will get yelled at. You will have to work behind the scenes to salvage what should have been easy. All this will make you angry. This will make you want to fight back. This will make you want to say, I am better than this. I deserve more. Of course, you want to throw that in other people's faces. Worse, you want to get in other people's faces. People who don't deserve the respect, recognition, or rewards they are getting. In fact, those people will often get perks instead of you. When someone doesn't reckon you with the seriousness that you liked, the impulse is to correct them, as we all wish to say, do you know who I am? I want to remind them of what they've forgotten. Your ego screams for you to indulge it. So see nipa to me, your bonnet, or say, adie we the ensem fatasi edi yeme, utumi di obufu, eni nipa krono kokokasa, unim nipa kra me ye. Adie ni nehu here. Instead, you must do nothing. Take it. Eat it until you are sick. Endure it. Enyahe, J. TV3 for yamo, friends saying, Bukata, NPP for Munyako, Menyahe, Yamre. TV3 for say, Omoma, Yankrof one kasa. Oh, enyahe, still behind the scenes, ye boy food ye. Now, so behind the scenes, no, ye knew among kasa. Oh, a dear Kosunio, a dear still almost your monya, what the enyahe, ye beba program, so. Because Ghana 40 into ye de yembra, enyahe yembra, enyahe yembra. Quietly brush it off and work harder. Play the game. Ignore the noise. For the love of God, do not let it distract you. Ye kom na boy juma. Mobile show ni so a NDC 45 NPP ba ko pe enye hwe ye kom boy juma. Mo make sure some be boy juma so that Ghana for na be hu ne say NDC 45 na ye de omoba no NPP ni ba ko ne pe ne kra no wa boy juma ye kom na ye ejuma no. Ejuma ni ne hia. Restraint is a difficult skill, but a critical one. You will often be tempted. You will probably even be overcome. No one is perfect with it, but try we must. It is a timeless fact of life that the up and coming must endure the abuses of the entrenched. Robinson was 28 when he started with the Dodgers, and he'd already paid plenty of dues in life as both a black man and a soldier. Still, he was forced to do it again. It is a sad fact of life that new talents are regularly missed, and even when recognized, often unappreciated. The reasons always vary, but it is a part of the journey. But you are not able to change the system until after you've made it. In the meantime, you will have to find some way to make it suit your purposes, even if those purposes are just extra time to develop properly, to learn from others on their dime, to build your base and establish yourself. As Robinson succeeded, after he had proved himself as the Rookie of the Year and as an MVP, and as his spot on the Dodgers was setting, he began to more clearly assert himself and his boundaries as a player and as a man. Having carved out his space, he felt that he could argue with umpires. He could throw his shoulders if he needed to make a player back off or to send a message. No matter how confident and famous Robinson became, he never spit on fans. He never did anything that undermined his legacy. A class act from opening day until the end. Jackie Robinson was not without passion. He had a temper and frustration like all of us do, but he learned early that the tightrope he walked would tolerate only restraint and had no forgiveness for ego. Honestly, not many parts do. At the end of the day, Sir Jackie Robinson, one of the best ever. The legacies are we leaving. One of the best ever in the league. Initially, no, ebufuo ye share no ye di natem no odiswa nanka sa legacy no wamba menya ende wa bobrama ne mama ne na kanswa mokra no edidi ho. That was the bigger picture. Se wo be bobra na ne nana kanswa mo aba be didi ho. Na se wo hwa bigger picture no na wo hu ne se bre wo se mebo eni na me nana kanswa mo be didi ho na wo bi di matem a wo se atem didi ntimi nyai na me nana kanswa mo ebeba be didi mi din ho no atem didi obi di mi ende ntimi nyai. So you see the bigger picture. NPP4, if your bigger picture is to win the elections in 2028, sa de we enya de bia wo se mo sha se mo ye. Because your bigger picture mo pese mo win no. If indeed you want Baumia to win. Na ende you say muko TV3 a ye ma mo time amon kasa. O se enu nti ye withdraw. You are not serious. You are not serious. I don't like it when NDC forecast NPP will be in opposition forever. But the way you people are doing it, say that is the way NPP. Embebu na mo NPP anyway. Me too mo for crabium. Mo nya mo nkoso. Mo pa join news for mo boycott. The mo sha say no NPP for mo boycott radio station, TV station. Bia mo boycott you bia eno ne epe. Don't try mo your comment box ni mo me da say.